it's yielding about $19.25. Now that number again is down a little from previous years, and that is again as a result of program participation and the kinds of things we've been able to do and the limitations that we've had with COVID. I will quickly comment that we are returned to normal operational procedures while still being cautious in what we do. Our office is open for business, and we've managed to be open for business during the whole COVID affair, and I want the people of Johnston County to know that we're there for them. They're welcome to come to us and seek out our assistance. Most of the things that we do for the people of Johnston County are at no charge to them, and we're available to help them, and that's what we want to do, is serve the citizens of Johnston County. I'll pause there for a moment and entertain any questions or comments that you may have, and I will offer too that we greatly desire to return to doing this at a more relaxed environment next year, an in-person where we feed you lunch hopefully, and so if we look around to the first Monday in March of 2023, we'd love to host you at the Ag Center and have things set up for you to talk about what we've been doing in cooperative extension and give you a more thorough review.
I think this board is in total agreement with that, and we much prefer being and being able to interact with you and your staff in person. And I'm just glad you're not asking us trivia questions right here on the spot. So
yeah, are you going to do that on the 23rd? Are we going to be tested again?
We're going to do it how you want to.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
Ryan, I just want to compliment you and your staff. Y'all just do a great job. Johnston County is still a big agricultural county, one of the biggest in the states. I don't get to deal with all your agents, but I want to give a shout out for Dan Wells. He's great. He's always there when I need him, and he's very, very competent, and I just want to make sure you know that.
I greatly appreciate those compliments, and I can tell you, if there's anything I've done right in my career in Johnston County, it's to be able to find a few good people, a few great people with excellent skills and ability and commitment to serve the people of Johnston County. Dan Wells is a fine example of that, and there are others at our office. We've got a great, committed team of individuals that really are competent, and they're there to serve the people of Johnston County. But thank you so much for that.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. It's a little bit off the subject, but in view of COVID, will we still be having the youth livestock show and sale in April?
Yes, sir. The youth livestock show and sale is scheduled to go on during, and I should be able to tell you the exact dates, but unfortunately the lack of hair on my head has also affected my memory. And
it's contagious.
It will be during the week of spring break, the week that the kids are out of school, and they'll be showing, which is following Easter Sunday, and you know, just after Good Friday and so forth.
That'll be 17th, I think.
Yeah, and we look forward to that. It's a great event. We'd love for you all to come at some point during that. The best time to come, really, there's a lot of good times, but on Wednesday, typically the hog show is during the morning, and I always enjoy that, but also that evening at the buyer's meal, typically there's a lot of people that come. We recognize the seniors in the program for their achievement and what they've done, and we award scholarships to that group, and you just get to see a lot of people and renew old acquaintances, and so we'd love to have any, and if I can do anything to accommodate you in that, please let me know. And typically there's a meal, and we are planning on that for that event.
That's great.
So we're looking forward to it for sure.
Any other comments? I will add one. You had mentioned Dan, but also I was going to say the 4-H program. Had the opportunity to meet Dan's daughter, and I would say very impressive. And so the 4-H program that you have and it's going on, and the impact it has on the lives of our young people, the positive impact is tremendous. I mean, the pride that she took in showing us, you know, things. It was really nice to see, and you can see that in her eyes. She was excited about it. So thank you for that and your 4-H.
Thank you so much. If there's not any other questions about that, I want to offer one brief comment. We had intended to have the North Carolina Tobacco Trust Fund Commission here today, their executive director and perhaps some folks on the JOCO Grows Agriculture Board Committee. But due to some scheduling conflicts that came up sort of last minute with the trust fund folks, we're going to try to schedule that at a different time, but we would love to do that with you guys and kind of recognize that effort, the Tobacco Trust Fund. And I also need to point out Donna Bailey Taylor with the Johnston County Visitors Bureau has been a tremendous, and her folks in her department have been tremendous partners for us in the JOCO Grows Agriculture promotion campaign and so forth that we're doing, and we're really doing some good things. You should be seeing those signs along some of the major highways, billboards. We've got a tremendous effort on Facebook, but the Tobacco Trust Fund funded us at just under $112,000 to support that project. And Donna has again, I can't recognize her enough for what she's done, and she's working on the North Carolina Specialty Crop Block Grant, and so hopefully provide more funds for that. So we're really excited about some things that's going on with JOCO Grows, and we look forward to maybe coming back at a future board meeting when we can arrange that with the trust fund to do a little publicity and thank them for their support. So,
Hashtag JOCO Grows Agriculture.
yes,
Yeah.
sir. Any other questions?
No.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the update. Next up, we have Johnny Pippin, Director of the Johnston County Smithfield Public Libraries, to come to give us an update and on some upcoming projects. So, Mr. Pippin, good to see you.
Thank you, thank you. Good morning, Chair, Commissioners, County Manager Hester, and staff. Today we're going to do a two-part presentation, quick and dirty numbers, and talk about some projects that are going on at the library. The second part will be our board chair, Jeff Jennings. First thing I'd like to address is coming here in April 2021, recently hired a youth services librarian to staff who has helped us with our inventory and weeding of our children's collections. Has also restarted our story times. Obviously with the pandemic we kind of put that on hold, but that is underway now. In my time so far, I've helped create or revise certain policies of the library, the collection development, safe child policy, code of conduct, reservable spaces, which get utilized quite a bit, and our circulation policy. Currently, I'm working with reestablishing our Friends of the Library group, outreach arm of the library that does fundraising and benefits. Getting ready to work on our strategic plan for 2023. That is the library strategic plan. We have not had one in place since 2018. 2018 to 2021 was kind of an extension, if you will. We're looking at a 3 to 5 year plan going forward. And part of my goals is to make the library a little bit more kinder and friendlier in our community with its support. Some numbers for 2021. New card holders registered to the library, 1,300. New student account card holders, 7,123. That is every student K through 12 in Johnston County has a library card, especially teachers and administration get access to those cards too. They have those cards too. Total patron accounts that utilize the Smithfield Library, 87,000. Total student accounts is 59,000. Total holds filled of materials that were requested, over 11,000 for 2021. And total checkouts for 2021 are 81,000 plus, which is 23% more than 2020, obviously with the pandemic. Those are what I've got. I'm going to turn it over to our board chair, Mr. Jeff Jennings. Thank you very much for your time.
Mr. Jennings, good to see you this morning.
Good to see y'all. Thank y'all for letting us be here this morning and giving us a chance to update you on some things that are happening now and things that are coming up. And that's what I'm going to talk about now, and we can go to that next slide. This is just a very simple layout of the children's area that we have right now, and all of you have been through the library at some point and have seen what we have. there. And this is the way it's been for 20 years. And we are hampered in as far as spacing goes. We have used what we, up there in the top left corner, that old clubhouse area, for programming and all. And it's a tight space. It creates, we're limited on what we can do with programming. And we have no flexibility in this whole area. So the board a few years ago began talking about, what is our biggest need in the library, and it is to address the children's department, because we all know that if kids arrive in the library, their parents and their extended family members are coming also. And how can we address that? So we began to ask ourselves, why do we want to do this? As I said, there hasn't been anything in the last 20 years. We can go to that next slide. We'll be fine. Our current shelving we have are big, bulky shelves. You can't move them. Once they're there, they have to stay there, and especially once they're full. We have no specific unsafe areas for toddlers or middle schoolers to hang out, or no specific areas for children to have for computers. They have to go upstairs where adults are, and we have to, we just need for them to have another safe area for them to be. So our top priority right now is to serve our families and, of course, help develop a love for reading early on, because we all know how important that is for early childhood, and because that's going to translate into what they can do at school. And this next slide shows you that's the old clubhouse. We call it old because it's no longer there. With the help of our friends at County Maintenance, it disappeared a couple of weeks ago because we felt like we have got to free up that space, and the walls had to come down. And those other photos show you pre-COVID what it looked like inside the library when we had some programming going on, and how we had to use just the middle hallway space to accommodate people, and how crowded it could get inside the clubhouse. So over the next several months, the Board of Trustees has already approved some funding through our own investment accounts that we have been very conservatively invested over the last several years, but have been building up. The purpose of those endowments and those accounts are to support the inner workings of the library. And on our next slide, we're going to show you, these are some of the things we're going to do. And the first thing we're going to do is that static shelving in the children's area is going to come out. We're going to have mobile shelving. It's just shelves on wheels. And what that will do is allow us to do any type of configuration in the library. We can build walls with it. We can turn it into creative displays and have a different look in the library. This will allow us to expand our floor space. If we want to create a small area for a presentation or move the shelves to make larger areas, we can do that. But we won't have static walls, static shelves that are up and about that'll hamper us and keep us from being able to do those types of things. So it's all about flexibility. Our next slide, we talked about we're going to have a specific area just for toddlers, so a safe area for them to be. Obviously they don't need to be around where the middle schoolers are. Some mothers or dads can go there with their toddlers while the other kids are looking around the library. We'll have a new space for middle schoolers. This is going to allow us to increase the number of programming, story times, presentations, and things like that we can have in the children's department. You heard Johnny say a while ago, we're cranking up our story times right now. We expect, as when you read news reports, we don't have to talk about the price of gas right now, but we know people right now, the mask mandates coming down and restrictions disappearing, that people are going to want to get out and about more. Well, if gas is going up, we would certainly expect a lot more local, a lot of local folks wanting to find what are the things in and around the county that they can go to and take their kids. So we're expecting a return to normalcy and then more at the library. So we're going to try and get ourselves ready for it. And the last thing we're going to do too, and this will probably be the last thing that we do, will be replacing the carpet. It's the same carpet that's been there. As usual, we got wear and tear. We're going to come. We're already looking at more vibrant colors, things that will be very attractive to families and kids. And then this next slide will show you. This is another simple rendition of what it could look like. Keep in mind, those shelves that are running diagonal, they could be in any direction and any formation that we want to put them, because they'll be on wheels and we can make them look any way we want. We'll create that new toddler area where the clubhouse was. We'll have over on the right side, that'll be our middle school area with comfortable seating, computer workstations, and things like that. So we're excited about this, and we feel like this is a step in the right direction for what the library can do for the community and for the county. The board, as I said earlier, has authorized some funding. We have allocated $50,000 towards this now. We are moving forward in the next couple of months, begin purchasing the shelving. That'll be the first part, because then we can begin to make the changes that we need to. As we head into the next fiscal year, our budget will have, as the board's putting that together, and we'll have that approved by the end of March, just to submit to Mr. McClam. The board will have a, opportunity in there for matching funds to help the renovations, and also we're going to be addressing, staff support and things like that. But for now, this is a very big step. We're very pleased with the direction the library is going right now under Johnny's leadership. He's been there, believe it or not, now going on a year. And we've had a lot of good things that have happened there, and we are ready to be fully open for business again and have these things there ready for our families and our patrons to take advantage of. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
Go
yes,
ahead,
sir.
Dick.
Brazel, Commissioner Brazel.
I understand that there are people, fundraisings going on right now. You've got fundraisers being, I've been approached by a few people for the donations for the
Were
children.
they asking
there.
you for donations? Well,
Personally.
we've got some opportunities out there, but as I said earlier, we've got that opportunity for people to make donations, especially for our friends group, support programming and supplies and materials. The board's investment right now is significant, and I suspect there will be more of that over the next few years. But we also want our funding partners to be a part of it, because this is, for what the library does in the surrounding community. So yes, sir, there are ways that we are looking at how we're going to raise the funds. The good news is, we have been able, thanks to market conditions, we've been able to generate some and have been holding on, and now we know now's the time to allocate some of that we have on hand for these type of things, because that's what those donors and people wanted to have happen, in the future.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I had a
Yes, sir.
question. The numbers here, 1,392 new cardholders, was that just during 2021? Wow,
That's correct.
that's good.
Any other questions? Mr. Jennings, Mr. Pippin, thank you for coming and giving us an update.
Thank you all for letting us have this chance to talk to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we have a request for funding nutritionist and medical office assistant positions from our health department. And it looks like Mr. Steve Strickland is going to address us.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Steve Strickland, Assistant Health Director and Finance Person. Keep up with the monies over there. We come to you today for a budget amendment of $49,736 for our WIC program, Women, Infants, and Children. We do nutrition education and supplemental food vouchers, nutrition, food for clients. And this program, last year, we spent over $3.5 million in local grocery stores across the county. So we do provide a lot of assistance out there and expenditures into the county. During the past year and a half, we've grown in our program. We've been basically virtual with our clients through telephone for the most part. But we've grown by almost 500 clients. And our money that comes to WIC is based on the number of clients that we serve over there. So you're seeing an additional $49,736 from March to May of this year. And then next year, we're looking at almost $133,000 additional dollars for this program. So what we're looking to do with these funds, these additional funds, is to fund an existing medical office assistant position that we had funded in the past, but we took that position out because we had a decrease back in 2017. And that position is important because the lab requirements for clients coming in to get finger sticks has been exempted during COVID. That's going to soon change, and we're going to start seeing clients come back into the health department needing those finger sticks and the lab work and the education that we provide in that program. So we really need to get that position back in place. And then we're looking at adding a new position, a nutritionist too, where we're looking to hire 2 part-time hourly nutritionists. One we already have on hand, a retired person who works about 2 days a week, then a medical nutrition therapist. that will really help our program. This is really no risk to the county in terms of funds coming in. We do need the additional new position nutritionist too to put the 2 part-time folks in to the program there. Any questions?
Any questions?
I have one, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
You say the WIC division has been at 107% of its current base caseload. How do you establish that base? I mean,
The state looks at the average number of folks that you're serving on an
I
annual
got you.
basis.
So
typically around
the
fall.
state has established that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And they'll look at that again each year. And as I said in my letter, we'll monitor this funding, and if the funding goes away, then we understand that the positions have to be supported by the state fund.
I got you.
Okay.
Makes
Dr.
sense.
Pearson,
Base
yes.
caseload is 4,400, we've been serving over 4,600,
Right.
4,700 a month. So that's how they look at that. It's
They've sent you,
and then they look at it monthly.
they've sent you a sedan to handle a bus load.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board? All right, I hear a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the positions so long as the state funding is available and approve the associated budget revision.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thanks, sir.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Steve.
And next up, we have Mr. Rick Proctor to present an item for us on the, it's too long for me to go. I'm going to let you introduce it. How about that?
Good morning, everyone. We are here to request approval for a budget to pay for the municipal solid waste landfill closure. This is designated Phase 4A and the Area 2 C and D landfill. Those have met permitted capacity. We are required to close those per EPA specs afterwards, and we're putting together a project to do that. We're estimating with engineering and the construction to be $8.8 million. This money is coming out of the solid waste reserve. It is paid for by solid waste. And I can answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions?
We're used to seeing numbers like this from Chandra, not
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I approve to the project budget for the landfill closure construction project and adopt the associated budget revisions.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I do
Motion.
have a question.
Yes, sir.
How long will this take, Rick? I think we talked about that at agenda
The
review.
construction's a 12-month, and we're allowing about 15 months simply
Okay.
for weather conditions. It was
Right.
pretty predictable last year.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Proctor.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, and next up, we have Director of Utilities, Chandra Farmer, to present an agreement for the purchase and sale of nitrogen offset credits.
Good morning. Back in July, the board approved a capital project budget for the acquisition of nitrogen offset credits for our future wastewater treatment expansion projects. The county staff has been working with the private mitigation bank Restoration Systems. We've also worked with the state, the NPDES staff, to ensure any credits that we obtain are acceptable and the allocation can be written into our wastewater facilities NPDES permit. The proposed agreement for the purchase and sale of nitrogen offset credits is between Johnston County and Restoration Systems, and it requires Restoration Systems to complete 181 acres of buffer restoration to generate 13,699 pounds per year of nitrogen reduction credits in the Neuse River estuary. The agreement requires the county to purchase the credits for $5.4 million, and as I mentioned, the budget has already been adopted. These credits are sufficient to meet the full expansion of our existing NPDES permit, which is 13.5 million gallons a day. It will allow us to reach that full limit. And as I presented last month, we have a study underway to look at expanding that limit, and then any additional nitrogen associated with that would be part of that study. The agreement that you have before you, it allows the credits to be released incrementally over time, and payment is also incremental over time. You can see that schedule. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. We're recommending approval of the agreement.
Any questions?
Yeah, I do. These credits are needed
Commissioner
per gallon of waste. Does it matter about the composition of the waste?
Well,
That makes sense.
Our wastewater is treated, we have a very low nitrogen limit, so the nitrogen is reduced below 3 milligrams per liter in our discharge back to the river, but we still, because our limit is in pounds, even though we will continue to maintain this very low limit and the very low discharge, in order to expand the amount of flow, we have to purchase the additional credits since it's a mass-based limit.
Any other questions? And can you remind us and the public exactly how many river basins in North Carolina have these fees?
This would be one.
Okay,
I'm only
okay.
aware of the Neuse River Basin having the nitrogen limits.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And you're welcome for that softball question. All right, do I hear a motion to approve the agreement?
Mr. Chairman,
You go.
I move we approve the agreement.
I second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
You knew
Thank
the answer before you asked that
Yeah.
question, didn't you?
I might have. All right. Next up, we have Ms. Andrews here to present the delinquent tax collection report. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. It's good to see you today. Before you have the January collections report, and as you can see, overall, we were up about 0.25% over the prior year. Going a little further in your consent agenda this morning, you passed the order for me to advertise delinquent real estate taxes. Just a FYI here, we are scheduled, in anticipation of you passing that, we went ahead and started working on that, and we anticipate that that delinquent insert will be in our local papers on the 16th of this month. Any questions in related to this matter?
Do you know how many local papers you're talking about?
Right now, as I understand this morning, we're doing 3, the Johnstonian, the Benson News and Review, and the News and Observer, trying to make sure that all areas of the county, big areas of the county are covered.
Right. All right. Any other questions?
Have one other matter, just as more of an FYI than anything else. If you'll recall, about 2 years ago, in fact, it was March of 2020, that we implemented a phone payment system. Basically, what it was given at their request, at many request, an option for taxpayers and citizens to pay their taxes by phone, and you took debit or credit cards, and we still use that today. Coincidentally, if you'll recall, 2 years ago right now, when COVID really kicked in, and it kind of changed, COVID changed how we did business a little bit. At that time, as we had stay-home orders and other things in place statewide, we were encouraging taxpayers to avoid physical presence within the office, and so the county began absorbing the vendor credit card convenience fees that were associated with this service. From day one till today, we have always said that that was a temporary situation because of COVID. My employees were repeatedly reminded of that and have, as they talked to people on the phone, said for now, that is the situation. So here we are 2 years later, and thanks to the good news that Dr. P delivered this morning, it appears that the COVID numbers are drastically improving. And I am, unless you object, I'm going to take steps to basically allow the vendor to start charging their collection fee, their convenience fee from the citizens and taxpayers, rather than having the tax or the citizens of the county absorb that fee. In discussion with the vendor, they would like to do it for bookkeeping purposes. To start this around the first of the month, so I am looking, again, if you have no objection, around the 1st of April starting this. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Any questions? All right, I think that's it.
Thank you.
All right,
Have a
thank
good day.
you. Next up, we have manager reports and comments. Mr. Hester?
Good morning, everybody. I just had one thing. I just wanted to give a budget, sort of an update on that. We're starting that process now, the annual budget, and we'll have a recommended budget to the commissioners in mid-May. And generally speaking, the board has 1 or 2 budget sessions during the month of June to adopt it. We've been on that schedule for a while now because things sometimes with the legislature can change that might change some of the budget aspects of it. So we'll be going through that process. We're also looking at things like, you know, our debt capacity in the future for a lot of capital needs. And as we all know, we have that, and then we have the annual budget impacts those numbers too. So we'll be looking forward to working with you on that proposed budget, and then we'll, at that point in mid to late May, it'll be the board's to do as you wish with it. So thank you.
All right. Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Hester?
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to board reports and comments. Any reports or comments from the board?
I'm looking forward to our retreat. Get time to talk about focus.
So I was going to touch on that. We have our strategic planning session coming up next week on Thursday and Friday, the 17th and 18th. It will be at Campbell University at a place that slips my mind right now on the campus. The Alumni Center, there we go. Thank you, Rick, for that. And I do think that at that we will, begin to establish some of that roadmap for this board, not only for this board, but for staff and for the residents of our county to know, where we are headed and where we kind of where we want to go and what those priorities are. And at that, I think we'll be reviewing our vision and mission statements. Again, establishing some goals and then set some concrete objectives for us to accomplish over the next year or so. So looking forward to that. And Kevin Leonard and his staff at the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners is going to be our facilitators. And I know they will do an outstanding job of leading us through those 2 days of strategic planning. So that's all I have.
I hope we can open the can and deal with it and not kick it down the road any.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I do not believe we have a need for a closed session today, so no closed session. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
A motion second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. See you at 6 o'clock.